Hi, everybody. It's Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 140. Today we're going to talk about, can anyone sing well? What do you think? That's an easy question to ask. How easy is it to answer? Let me know in the comments section below, yes or no. Can anyone sing well? Just tell me below. All right. Welcome. And I'm working on a little bit of hey, real easy. Nice to have you here today. Nuno, great to have you here. Thanks for joining me today. This question is asked a lot. And I have people contact me and say, I'd like to take a lesson and I'd like for you to help me, I need to know if I can sing or not. And what they really want to know is, can they sing really well? What do you think? Can anyone sing well? Yes or no? Be very careful. Somebody might get upset. Okay, so this week my PC kept doing crazy things like saying you're out of memory, and I have a whole nother drive, a terabyte point 8 or something, and the drive that my computer was on was maxing out, and there were other warnings coming up, and finally I just deleted everything and reinstalled Windows 10. And so I'm starting out a little bit on the less accomplished side as far as my broadcast software is concerned, because I had some music that I was playing at the beginning, and now I don't have, it's not on my computer, so I couldn't download it. So I'll be adding things as we go along, but the main thing is that you can see and hear me okay. So I just want to verify that you can see and hear me okay, and it looks like the people are answering the question, so I'm guessing that you can hear and see me all right. Let me just get this chat. So, okay. So Adam says, some may need training. But yes, okay. Sam says, yes, sing well. Maybe not perfect. Okay, that's a good clarification. Joaquin says, yes, but not the same way. Every voice is different. Some voices are better for soft songs, other for rock. Okay. And Joaquin says, depends. Real Easy said, people can sing, but they just need to train their voice. All right, so you guys are getting kind of down to a distinction between, can everybody sing and can anyone sing, or the question may be a little more refined if you say, can anyone sing well? In other words, can anybody just sing well? And I guess I have I'd like to answer that question by telling a story. And then we'll get into what are the elements of good singing? Because when someone says, can anyone sing well, what are the elements of singing well? Let me ask you guys, what is singing well to you? What are the elements of singing well? What things have to be present in order to sing well? Okay? You tell me in the comments, and I'll go off your comments today. Tell me, what are the elements of singing well? Nuno says, I think it involves talent and really good technique. So for me, it's like, yes, you can sing well, but people with natural talent or with unique traits may be better. Isabel, Christina, hi. Nice to have you with us today, Isabel. Yukain says, random question, Chuck, why when I'm using the same tone in Japanese, it sounds better than in English? What's the problem? Who does it sound better to, Yukain? Does it sound better to you or to your audience? Does it really sound better, or do you just think it sounds better? Let me know what you think about that. Okay, you guys, tell me, what are the elements of good singing? The story I was going to tell you is that in several instances, I can probably list on one hand, for the last 10 years, I've had students, maybe 3 to 5 students that kind of just come to mind, that had trouble finding the pitch. And some of them found the pitch easier than others, but when they found the pitch, found it difficult to stay with the pitch. In other words, I could say, hit that note, if this was a guy, and they'd say, ah, and I'd say, keep finding it, and see if you can locate it. And I'd ask, can you tell that you're not on pitch? Ah, and they'd say, yeah, I can tell I'm not on pitch. All right, let your voice go up and let it go down until you can find this pitch. And so eventually we're able to find the pitch. However, when the next note came, so there was some challenge, in some cases, quite a bit of challenge in locating the pitch quickly. In other words, so there was a lot of struggle with hearing it, finding it, and then vocalizing the pitch quickly. In that instance, ladies and gentlemen, I am not certain that I can say with certainty that anyone can sing well. Now, I've had a couple students who went for several, in one instance I can think of, at least 18 months, and another student probably a similar time frame, maybe 2 years, and both got much better than when they started, but still had to really work a long time on one song to do that one. And so I guess in context of that individual or those individuals, they could learn to sing pretty well one song or two, but as far as being able to hear a song and sing it well, that was really difficult for them, with a pretty good amount of time spent on learning to sing. Now, could it get better? I think so. I think that if they gave maybe 5 to 10 years and diligent effort every day, every week, every month, and every year, that it may be possible. But what I've found is it's such a challenge and takes so much time, and it's so long in progressing that people give up. And I understand that, because they're also extremely good at other things, much better at other things than I am, and at those things. So you begin to say, well, what's it worth? Is it worth the time and the energy and effort? So my answer I will give you now is, I don't think that anyone can sing well. And we'll talk more about that. Let me pick up some more comments here. And I hate to say that, but it really is. Someone mentioned this already. Much of it is conditional on natural talent and unique traits or gifts. And look, I don't know. I have kind of my own religious beliefs, which I can make a guess based on my own religious beliefs. Where does talent come from? In other words, when a Mozart climbs up on his father's lap and plays a sonata at age 3 or whatever, where does that come from? Of course, not everyone's a Mozart, but I've had 5-year-olds come into my studio and just sing the daylights out of any song. They'd hear it and just sing along, and they can do it. And I think I did pretty much that too. I'd sing along with every song that I heard. My mother reminded me the other day that I had a little wooden horsey, and I watched Davy Crockett on TV when I was little. And when I say little, I'm like 2 or 3 years old, but I was old enough to sing out. And I remember the tune. I remember the song, and I sang, Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. Of course, I sang it up in my little 3-year-old voice, and I would just sing at the top of my lungs, and it was on a little wooden horsey on springs, and I could rock back and forth. And my mom said I did it for, she says, hours upon hours. Probably over, a period of time, it was hours upon hours. And I would just sing at the top of my lungs, King of the Wild Frontier, And so, where'd that come from? My dad didn't sing. I think my mother could sing. She could carry a tune, but she wasn't a singer. I think she listened to records and things, but I don't remember that. So I get a little 5-year-old in the studio, and they can just sing. They sing and sing well. And I have an adult come in who is accomplished in many areas of their life, can't find the pitch without tremendous effort and without a lot of time. Where does that come from, you guys? So, all right, so we've got some more comments here. So Yukine said it sounded better in Japanese than in English, the tone. Singing in tune, have a good tone, good breath support, singing without tension. Answering the question, what are the elements of good singing? Okay, so singing in tune, I think it's got to be number one, isn't it? I mean, if we don't allow it in anything else, if I said... After the concert, people say, well, he was a brilliant piano player. He just didn't hit the right notes. We don't give that. We don't allow that. And the same thing is true with singing. We can say, I felt the energy, I felt the passion, and there is some allowance for that. If there's a tremendous amount of emotion and you're being moved by the singer, we sometimes will be really forgiving on pitch, but many, many times we're not. So if someone's a little bit flat, let's say, and they're not on pitch, it bothers us. We really want them to be on pitch. And so usually we don't say, well, it was a wonderful voice. The only thing was he just couldn't sing the right notes. But we're not very forgiving of that, right? So I think he's right about we got to sing on tune. We got to be able to find that. And if you sing well, it's finding the pitch and hearing the pitch and matching it with your voice is not even a thought. You just do it. You can just do it. Like the little 5-year-old that can come in and sing any tune they hear, I think that's the basis of singing well. If you can't do that, it is going to be weeks, months, years, decades, maybe a lifetime of work and effort to learn. And I'm willing to bet that the science community, someone could say, no, we've done research on, there is a condition with which some people are born, and I believe it's called amusia, or the absence of musical talent or something, which is being tone deaf. They can't really hear the pitch. Something in the nervous system, the brain can't send that signal to the vocal cord to match that particular pitch. And that's called tone deaf. That's relatively few people on Earth, maybe 1 or 2% or 3 maybe, but the vast majority of us aren't tone deaf. Even if people struggle a little bit with pitch, that's not tone deaf. Tone deaf is not being able to recognize if you're on it or not. So even my student who might say, then they can hear they can hear they're on. That's not being tone deaf. That just means there's still going to be a lot of work. So being able to sing in tune, having good breath support, and do without tension, I think, Joaquin, those are excellent points. Hey, Thiago, nice to see you. Sumit, Kangarit. First, you need a voice to sing. If you can speak, you can sing too. Good point. That's an excellent point. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to sing if for some reason you could not speak. Cindy says, hi. I guess hitting the right notes, and I think you're right on, Cindy. Thiago, I'm not able to sing the G4 in songs. I'm still not able to sing the G4 in songs. Thiago, be patient with yourself. You'll get it. If you can do it in exercises, it's only a matter of time before you'll be able to do it in songs. Chuck, the neigh exercise must be done first, then the others. Nope. Then you can do it in any order you would like, Thiago. Eliakim, hi. Hello. Can you help me, please? I like singing, but my voice is heavy badly. What can I do? What do you mean by heavy? Can you help me with understanding what do you mean when you say heavy? Sumit says, tell us how to get the G4 and above. Okay. Sumit also says, Chuck Gilmore, what will you do if you lost your voice one day? If I lost my voice, what would I do? Oh my gosh. Completely lost my voice? Wouldn't that be a sad experience? It's an interesting question, Sumit, because I have had instances where I was sick, and I couldn't speak, or it was really, really bad. And right now I'm still dealing with acid reflux. You can hear while I'm speaking that it starts to it's not functioning at its optimal right now. I'm hoping to get it back into shape here in a little while, but I'm taking medications for it. But I've been in a show, and I played an old guy, and he had actually I played an old drunk, and he, not an old, necessarily old, but a guy my age that drank, and it was from the show, let me see, can you see that? My Fair Lady. My Fair Lady, and I played Alfred P. Doolittle, and the way he talked and sang, it didn't matter necessarily that my voice was scratchy. But if I lost my voice completely, what would I do? I'd probably become a writer. I'd probably become some kind of a writer. I produce a lot of information now about singing, and maybe I would do that. I would write about it. Or maybe become if I could still hear, I would probably still produce a lot of content and maybe have someone else speak for me, and still try to get the word out, what's possible with our voices. I'm extremely passionate about that. Adam says, my bro can't sing on tune to save his life. Yeah, and I think that's a frustration and something that's makes me sad. But there are some things, you guys, that I can't I can't help. And that and finding the pitch and making it easy to find the pitch is one of them. Ink King says, Chuck, it's actually not true, and everyone can sing well, because some people are born with a condition called amusia, which is where you're medically tone deaf and can never learn to match the pitch. There it is. So, yeah. So not everyone can sing well because there's a medical condition. Or, like someone else has said, if you didn't have your voice. Ink says, I think talent comes from God. Okay. I tend to agree. But a lot of times we do nothing with our talent. We do nothing with our gifts. So just because we have it, I've had plenty of students who come in here and just sing the daylights out of a song, and they're gone in 3 or 4 weeks. They just lose interest. They can do that. They're on to something else. You know, just not willing to put in the effort. They don't have the passion. So they got a gift to sing, but they don't have this talent to work. And so. Now, that's the other part of the equation, isn't it? Thiago, say hi to my sister, Julia. Hey, Julia, you're 8 years old? All right. And you love to sing? Awesome. Keep singing, Julia. Thanks for watching. Your brother's a good singer. Herman, hello. Nice to have you here today. Ray? Hey, Ray, nice to see you. Sophia Wolf says, you can sing. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sophia. Sam, Kian, singing on pitch with the correct mixed voice feeling is much easier than pulling chest to the note. I found almost impossible to sing on pitch when I'm pulling my chest voice. And Sam, what a great comment. I have the same problem. If I pull my chest up to the top, and this is like even before when I didn't know about bridging and being able to get into my mix, I know I was flat. I know I was under pitch, and that's common. Now I'm not talking about that kind of a pitch problem, and I've seen that happen. People come into my studio and they say, well, I have a hard time hitting pitch. I'm relieved when they can find the notes anywhere on the piano. They can sing the pitch. But when they got close to the bridge, they went a little bit flat. I can help them. I can help them with that. I can teach them the bridge, and then that's going to take care of a pitch problem. Or to keep the larynx down, that's going to take care of the pitch problem. That kind of a problem. Cindy says, oh, do you have any tips for practicing the 6th octave? Well, Cindy, is that where you're at? You got all the other ones in place. Now, it's just number 6 octave that's holding you back. So first of all, I'd say tip number 1 is make sure that the A4, the B flat 4, the B4, the C5, the C sharp 5 is immaculate, is perfect. Is like you nail it when you're there in that bridge, and then the next bridge you nail it. Those are the important places in your voice, especially the first bridge, because that will open the door to the next higher bridges. So that's tip number 1, and that's the supreme tip. The other in the 6th octave, six to 7, if your larynx is high and the vocal cords have been in falsetto all your life or something, then it's going to be difficult. But what I'd like to ask Cindy is, what are you going to use? What are you going to sing up there? And what are you going to use it for? That's my first question. Isava Sanaru, does SLS teach glottal onsets? What's your opinion about them? Is Isava? Yes, when it's needed, and it's primarily needed. The glottal onset is primarily needed when there's inadequate chord structure, inadequate vocal cord closure, inadequate vocal cord adduction, and there's an air leak in the voice. If there's too much air escaping, then I will give my students vocal exercises that bring the chord structure together. So, in other words, and then the next step is until the time comes when they can sing or because if they're struggling with then I've got to retrain the nervous system to allow the chord structure to come together more firmly. Sanskriti. If you were to lay out parameters that make good singer, what will they be? Number one, a good singer has the ability to have their vocal cords come together appropriately firm and interact appropriately well with the air. So the chord structure is one. Now, there's a balance between my airflow and the muscle of the vocal cord. Same thing for the ladies. That doesn't do justice to your voices because I'm in my my head voice up there. But the chord structure the vocal cords have to come together appropriately firm in order for there to be a balance of air and muscle. If there's too much air and too little muscle, then they're going to have this air leak. If there's too much muscle, it's going to be too tight, too jammed, and the tone is going to have a difficult time escaping. And that's very common in a pulled chest high larynx, kind of, so that's number one. There has to be a balance of air and muscle in the vocal cords. So good balance in air and muscle, between air and the vocal cord muscle. Number two is the larynx needs to be down where I speak. So when I'm singing, I need to be able to sing ma 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 ma. I don't think I'm going to do that today. Ma 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 ma. No matter where the pitch is, I can just say it like I am talking. But if I said ma 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 ma, if I had to raise my chin and pull the larynx up ma ma ma, then that's not a recipe for good singing. So the larynx needs to be stable. It needs to be about where I speak. And if I've got those two things, I am well on my way. Number three is I think it's critically important to be able to bridge between my chest and my head voice. That's an element of good singing. So if I said, that's not bridging. I'm breaking into falsetto. Pulling up my chest voice. Just flipping into falsetto. So I have to learn to mix through there. If you have the capacity to mix in the bridges, I shouldn't say if, that's vital to be able to sing well. That's a requirement. The fourth thing is I want to be able to sing. I need to have vibrato. So I need to be able to have that vibrato whenever I want to use it, in the bridge, in head voice, and in chest voice. So those are four things that are, I think, very strong, critical elements of good singing. So I have grandchildren here today, and maybe you can hear that in the background. I'm breaking all the rules today. I have a black shirt on. You're not supposed to do that when you're live. You know, it's supposed to be some bright color. How about this? I'll bring out a red a red cup. All right. Now, is there something else with in terms of good singing? Pitch. And maybe I should have included that earlier. There has to be good pitch. That's just a fundamental. You have to have good pitch, and I have to be able to something called duration. I have to be able to sustain a note adequately, and so I think there's some breathing mechanisms that need to be in place. I need to be able to breathe utilizing the diaphragm dropping down to pull air in, so the tummy comes out to make room for the diaphragm. It creates a vacuum here in the lungs, and air goes in. And then I need to be able to sustain a note. With vibrato. So I want to be able to have a capacity to sustain with vibrato. So pitch, duration, and quality. Quality meaning, you know, the vibrato in the voice, the tone quality. So it's got to be, I can't just sing with a straight tone. Ah, ah, ah. So I want to be able to have that vibrato. And so what is that now? That's about 5 or 6, 7 things. So adequate breath support, be able to sustain the note, and have the quality of the vibrato always going or available to me, and not have to rely on a straight tone. And and this is really pretty strictly just vocal technique. I'm not talking about genre-specific style and so forth. That's another thing. I'm not really a style coach. I am a technician to help you sing correctly. And then you bring the style in depending on the genre of your, the passion that you have. For you, it might be, for some it might be country western, for some it might be jazz, it might be opera for others, it may be Hindi folk or a traditional Indian music. I have a student who's a singer of that genre, and it could be any kinds of music that we grow up listening to and wanting to sing. That's not what I deal with. I deal with helping vocal technique, good singing, or singing well. So all of those elements are elements of good singing or singing well. I'll think of another one here. Somebody probably can catch me on whether I'm leaving something out here. I'll get some others to come to me in a second. Daniel asked, let me see, no wait. Cindy says, thanks for the tips. I got to admit, I'm a Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande fan. That explains the 6. I can reach it, but it doesn't sound pleasant to me. Cindy, that's a great that's a great answer, because those ladies can get up there. And so, but I'm not being coy or facetious by saying the important thing first is that the first and second bridges are, the first bridge is great, because then you're going to find the seconds available to you, and then you're going to find that the third and head voice is completely there. If you have troubles there, let's just say in the fifth octave, then the sixth is going to be tough. And so you really have to have those first in order to deal with the sixth. And then you can get into the sixth. And I use the same exercises for those as I do the first, second, or the fourth, fourth and fifth octaves. Daniel R., how often and for how long does one have to train singing as a complete beginner? Daniel, it depends. If you have kind of a knack for it, you can hear the tune, and when you sing, you kind of have an ability there. Maybe the bridge is a little bit easier for you. It won't take you too long. If you're more average like me, I think about 18 months, truthfully. 18 months to 2 years for me. And I tell this story, and you all have heard it if you've been listening to me much. Pavarotti, who was one of the great tenors of history, he was interviewed, and he was illustrating an F above. That's the F4, not high for him. But he said, "You're not a good tenor unless you can cover," and I think he meant, and I interpret that as meaning that unless you can bridge or mix on this F. And he said, I said, and he does a demonstration. Ah, and he just did this really kind of open and bright F. And then he says, no, it's not bad, but it's not elegant. He says, you're not a true tenor. I said, let me show you. Then he says, ah, and he had this, amazing resonance and tone. He said, now that might sound easy. Take maybe 10 years. That's the answer, Daniel. It takes as long as it takes. But one of the greatest singers of all time, it took him 10 years to get a quality of note that he was working for. So the part of that answer, Daniel, obviously, is where do you want to sing? Do you want to go on Broadway? Do you want to be in the Metropolitan Opera? Do you want to be in the big opera houses in Europe and across the world? Or are you just interested in, singing in a band on the weekends in an eating establishment? You probably don't have to have the same amount of training and technical acumen. Thiago, I think anyone can sing. Some people will learn faster than others, but anyone can sing well. Okay, probably I disagree with that, but I think it's very possible that we all definitely can improve. Isva says, thank you. Simit, what are your thoughts on the vocal power of the frontman singer in Linkin Park, Chester Bennington? I haven't spent a lot of time listening to Chester, but I know that he did some screaming. And I also know that Mr. Seth Riggs taught him. And I heard him say, I heard him talk about Chester once in very positive light, but I think Seth was somewhat frustrated that he couldn't get him to be a little more concerned about his vocal health. And so I think I heard Seth say one time, I was just trying to get him to stop abusing his voice about 50%, take it back 50%, so that he could have longevity with his voice, because I guess he had a tendency to pull and to scream, and that will shorten the life of the voice. Of course, Chester ended up committing suicide for other reasons other than singing, but that's about all I could say, Sumit. But I think that I found that very interesting when I heard Seth Riggs talk about that. Is in some cases with some stars that have built their careers around a certain sound, the best he could do was just negotiate with the singer to not abuse as much. And then when he came back for his lesson, he tried to get his voice rebalanced so that he could vocalize healthily in the lesson and as healthy as he could while he's singing his music, and then abuse as little as he could as he could. Cindy says, "Oh man, I love doing vibrato. It's really fun to do." Yeah, Cindy, it's good to hear too. It's good for your voice. It's good for the health of the vocal cords. H.A. says, "Fair to Midland, Darrow Sutterth has a phenomenal vibrato." Cool. I don't know, I'm not familiar with him, but that sounds great. Slim Shady says, "Is it tough for someone to sing if English is not the first language?" Slim, sometimes that can affect the person singing in English. Yes. It can be hard to, it sometimes can affect the tone because of the pronunciation. And so it can be. Sometimes if the accent is strong, or it affects the pronunciation of a word, then it can make it harder. It's not impossible, though. And people overcome that all the time. But it can be more of a challenge for sure. He also says, "Hi, Chuck, I've been a while. I couldn't attend your live lesson." I'm glad you're here today, Slim. Thanks for being here. You're welcome, Cindy. Inking says, "Chuck, did Seth Riggs ever talk to you about Michael Jackson's life?" Yeah, sometimes, as in tell you things about Michael that not many people know. Yeah, I mean, Seth asked him one time why he spoke in such light, so lightly and kind of up here. And he says, "Oh, I don't know. My grandfather talked that way. I like it." I haven't heard a lot of stories, so I wasn't. There are others who've heard a lot more, but Seth doesn't feel that Michael ever did anything inappropriate to children or others. He knew him pretty well, and he felt like he was being ramrodded, and there were other problems that people were going after Michael on that weren't right, because he'd worked with them 25 years or so. So he felt Michael was a man of integrity and, of course, a world-class talent. And I don't mean to put words in Seth's mouth, but I've never heard him ever disparage Michael. He was heartbroken when Michael passed away. Someone said, "Can you name any one singer who's the best of all time?" No, not really. What? How do you judge that, Sumit? Do you judge it from the standpoint of the songs that they sing, or do you judge it from how high they can sing, or how powerful the voice, or how soft they can sing, or how they make you feel when they sing? I can name some that I think that I feel like they're just wonderful singers, but there are so many genres. There's so many out there that I love Barbra Streisand's voice. I think she's an amazing singer and performer, and but my story behind that is I've said that before, and people say, "Well, I don't like her voice at all." And that helped me. It helped me because I realized that no matter how fantastic I am, I could be in the top 10 in the world. Most people aren't going to like my voice. That's life. We just have our different tastes. And some people are going to think I'm the most brilliant singer they've ever heard, and others are going to not like it at all. That's life. I'm singing for the ones who like my voice. I'm singing for myself, too. Thiago, is it possible to have 6 octaves vocal range like Prince? It's possible. Yeah. Inking, there's actually no evidence that Michael did those things. In fact, the people who said Michael did things, the children actually got exposed in the past for making up lies. I haven't followed it closely, Ink. I think that it's almost impossible to know the truth about some of those things. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. Vocal range and powerful, some it says. Um, well, um, I like Barbara Streisand. I like Jessie J. I think she's great. If you've ever heard of, her name just left me. She's a really awesome singer. She died of a brain tumor. Young female. Uh, just, I thought she was a great singer. Um, It'll come to me in a second. Um, Gentlemen, I have to think about that a little bit. As far as I think Pavarotti is great. I love listening to Pavarotti. I think he's got a great voice. Um, I like I like Josh Groban. I think Josh Groban's a great singer. Amy Lee, I think Amy Lee from Evanescence. I love her first album. I think that she's got an amazing power in her voice. Um, and she sings pretty healthily in that first album especially. Um, so I think she's awesome. Um, Let me get a couple questions here. So vocal range and power. I mean, if you listen to someone powerful, listen to Amy Lee in her first album, Evanescence. I think she's got some real strength and her range. I don't know her range. Um, there was Seth Riggs was married to Kathleen Riggs, who has passed away. She died of cancer some years ago, but I've heard her on a recording sing the see five six the C7. That was like amazing. That's for range. I would say that was amazing. I spec. Hi, I'm watching in Africa. Hey, great. Ghana, nice to have you here. Lose my voice when I'm singing in high notes. What should I do? I should probably are pulling the chest voice higher. And so in a minute, let me just give you guys a couple tips. Someone asked about singing high um, or hitting the high notes. Lucas says I can reach the notes that Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park used to sing, being a bar. Can I reach them, being a baritone? Depends, Lucas. Don't know for sure. I'd have to. I don't know exactly what notes Chester hit, how high he went, and I'm not sure about I haven't heard your voice. All things being equal, it's. I would say it's possible. It's possible. I can't give you a definitive yes or no. We are Royals. Oh, hi, Rio Royals. Nice to see you. I love that we all have got our taste. Yes, thank goodness, don't we? I was thinking about like Lady Gaga. She's got what, about 80 million people on Twitter following her, and yet in terms of 7 billion people on Earth, that's not very many. You know, and as many followers as she has, and she's really she's a talent. I think she's in many instances. I'm not sure her condition of her voice right now, but I think she's got she's a good singer, and that doesn't mean she's always singing perfectly, but I think she's a good singer. But only 80 million out of 7 billion, really follow her. And I'm sure there's a lot of the people who like her voice, but you don't need a big percentage to make a living singing. Imagine what would happen if somebody had like 50% of the world, following them as a singer. You don't need a big chunk. So thank goodness everybody has their taste. We are Royals. Thanks for the comment. Um, okay, so let me show this. The mainstream artists are basically shoved down people's throats. Yeah, so let me just, I guess, do I have to approve that? Yeah. Rio Royal says in mainstream artists are basically shoved down people's throats. Yeah, some of the promotional, the marketing and so forth, very often are that way. I think We Are Royals, you're a band if I remember right. So people go listen to them. Adam King is talking to Thiago. I'll let you guys talk. He talked about Juilliard. He was tested by Juilliard, and no, he does not have 6-octave range. He has a okay. I don't know that argument there. Someone said I love Josh. I think Jessie J's are really. I really like listening to Jessie J. I think she's really good. Darn, somebody can help me with that. A female that I can't remember her name. Oh gosh. Cindy, someone, in fact, has been talking to me about doing a podcast. Let me ask you, Cindy, what would you like to hear in a podcast? What could I talk about in a podcast that you would like to have, that you would like to hear? If you're still with me, I know we're getting close to the end, but what would you like to hear? Or anyone, what would you like to hear in a podcast? Slim Shady says, Chuck, one more question. How technical Ed Sheeran sounds when it comes to singing? Does someone's lyrical ability helps if they fall short in terms of singing? So, Slim, I would say that once in a while I hear some of Ed Sheeran. He pulls his chest voice a little bit. I think he's a great performer and artist, and I think he could be a little more careful with some of the high notes. I think he can get a little bit pulled, and I don't always go for that sound necessarily, and it's not the greatest for the vocal health. So that's my only comment. I think he's got a lot of feel, and I enjoy listening to him in many instances. Okay, I've actually good news. I've found that if I sing low notes and medium rates for 1 hour, correct vowels, I get flipping and without flipping. Great, awesome. Do you have videos you sing? Do you have videos of you singing musical theater? Thiago, go to powertosing.com and click on my playlists, and there's a playlist there of me singing some different things. Several of them are from musical theater, and it'll say me singing or something like that. Powertosing.com, or no, my YouTube channel. Power to Sing on my YouTube channel, and then look under the playlist, and there'll be one there of me singing. And I just recorded it. I'd usually do one take, and it could be 10:30 at night, and I didn't do any auto tuning. It is what it is, and so We Are Royals. Like the radio, they play the same songs over and over and end up getting used to them. Yeah. Ivan says, Ava Cassidy, you are right, Ivan. Thank you. I think Ava Cassidy is a great singer. Really love her voice. Sophie Wolf, podcast, everything you said in this live. Okay. Hey, Peter, nice to see you. We're West. Would rather be an amazing singer or an amazing songwriter, and why? Well, I'll tell you what. I would probably want to be an amazing singer because for me, We Are Royals, it's the performing. I get this. I just finished this show, and I'll just tell you the story. I was backstage getting ready to come on, and I just had this. I had this thing come over me where I thought, I love this. I love performing. I love going out on stage and performing. I love being another character. I'm a character actor and singer. And I love that. I love being on stage in musical theater because I'm telling stories, and I'm a part of that story, and I get to entertain the audience. And I love the connection with the audience. I love the connection with my cast, and it's something that I can't verbalize very well. I love it. In that instance, I think I would love rather performing But probably, truthfully, the money is in songwriting, if you're a good songwriter. Or both. If you can combine them both, that would be ideal, right? Um, Pauline, how can a beginner start to build volume? Now, those are questions, Pauline, that take more time than I have to answer today. Let me just stop and say here, you guys, that um, yeah. So thank you, We Are Royals. There's something about performing, you guys, that gets in your blood, and I love it so much, and it hurts me when someone who wants to sing and who wants to sing like maybe songs that they haven't been able to sing can't because they don't know how to bridge. That hurts me. There's no reason for that. I want to get the word out to the world that there's so much more we can do with our voices. And that's why I say you can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. So anyway, everyone who wants to know how to sing higher or has asked me about singing with more power and more strength, step number one, go to the description in this video after this is over, and it's going to be over in 2 minutes, and look for there's a thing there that says get your PDF, get your free PDF, get my vocal type. My vocal type is this PDF will take you to a test to do your vocal type, and then it will tell you'll figure out what you'll discover your vocal type. Is it pulled chest, high larynx? Is it flip falsetto? Is it light chest, no chest? And then you can watch the videos. It'll take you to a link of videos about your vocal type. And then it will take you to a link to download free exercises for your vocal type. They will help you, one, get your vocal cords to come together more appropriately. Number two, it'll also help you be able to learn how to bridge, that is, get through that middle area that wants to crack and break or where you start straining. And that's where you begin learning how to bridge. And those are the basic things that has to happen in order for you to learn how to sing higher without straining or reaching, or to sing stronger with more power in your voice. So that's go get the PDF, get my vocal type, take the vocal test, and then watch the videos about your vocal type, and then download the exercises to do them. And that will get you well on your way to increasing your range, learning how to sing better, and learning how to sing in the bridge, that is from chest to head voice without cracking, breaking, breathiness without breaking into falsetto. And it's a great start, and that's where you must begin. And you notice how many elements of good singing are included just in that explanation. Appropriate vocal cord structure, the larynx down, bridging, and that is getting from chest to head voice. Oh, I'll say one thing and final. One of the elements of good singing is you have to be able to sing with power and strength. You have to have a dynamic range. You got to be able to sing loud. You got to be able to sing soft. And you have to be able to sing high. You have to be able to sing, you have to have a range of, a range. And so that's another element of good singing. So it's impressive that you can sing high notes, but are your high notes impressive? You have to have the impressive high notes to really sing well. So maybe that's my last comment on what is good singing. All right, everybody. I got to run. I've got students coming here, and so thanks. This has really been exciting and really fun day. Cindy, did you tell me what you would want to see in a tips and such for the podcast, going more into vocal types to tips and such? Okay, vocal tips. My only concern, Cindy, is that you would I'd run out of tips, but I suppose, like this live broadcast, even if I repeat them, sometimes it takes all of us repeat hearing to really start to internalize it. So thank you very much for your feedback today, you guys, and I hope this has been helpful and interesting today. So I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. This is number 140. Remember, you can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. See you inside the next video. Thanks.